If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again.
This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in.
Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburn.com, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com. All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to a live edition, a Monday Night Live edition episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. I'm Brian Fulford, and joining me as always, my partner, A.D. Drew, who has seemed to get himself together and is ready for another show, another adventure. Drew, how you doing tonight?
Doing fine, my brother. Doing fine. Just having a little problem trying to get my camera centered like I wanted to, and it's a beast when you set up change your studio look, son.
Damn cameras get you every time.
Yeah. If it ain't the camera, it's the internet.
Praying for, we pray and knock on wood and everything else, praying that we get good internet here from my home studio, and you were at your place, a little different background as though. Oh, I see you. We talked about what you did back there on that background with the passes, with your credentials rather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got these just the ones that I found over the last week that I held on to. All the various credentials.
Right.
So that's not counting the games that I went to that I did not get either didn't have to get credentialed or cannot find the credentials anymore. So
I got you.
I got what? It's at least 30 of them up there.
Okay. Yeah, a little collector's edition. I started keeping some, and I've got some all over the place. Yeah, you got a good thing going there. Maybe one day I'll decorate the board, or I should say the wall behind me, and do
It's just something different to do.
Yeah, so far my white wall is holding strong back there. Eventually, maybe going into this new season, we'll add some deco behind it.
But see, here's the thing: when people go notice as I start adding them throughout the fall and the winter season, when are people gonna notice and say something?
Yeah. Well, see, I think if I could decorate for you, I think the banner poster that's over your right shoulder probably needs to be further to your right, and then maybe something more abstract or mundane needs to go in between that and the
credentials need to be over to the left a little bit.
Yeah, credentials probably, and then maybe put something, maybe your a Tuskegee or a FAMU flag kind of in the middle.
I got the perfect thing since you said that.
Okay, we'll be looking next week. Next week we'll be looking for some updates to your wall decorations back there. So hey, we're on obviously Monday night instead of our normal Sunday night, and so I will take the blame. Look, this is summer hours, so I'll take the blame on this one, as I had to.
It's like summer camp for a basketball coach.
Summer for especially the first 4 weeks, 5 weeks at the most after school lets out. You got team camps, colleges hosting camps. sometime other high schools hosting camps, and so there's this thing called summer high school basketball, and also there's a live period coming up the next 2 weekends. So that you're trying to get kids exposure, you're trying to get coaches an opportunity to see them, and so we took our team to what we call our hometown Power 5 now college at UCF, who's now part of the Big 12. And I moved up a spot, Drew. I moved from the JV one to the varsity one to cover for the head coach. He let me stand.
Interim
in his
varsity
place.
one.
Yeah. I had to be interim varsity one, so I did a good job. Didn't screw it up, Drew. Nobody got hurt, and we won all 4 games. So I'm of all the look, and I me, I've been a head varsity coach. I've won an AAU title. I've coached from middle school to JV to freshman, so I mean but I tell you, it was a good feeling when you got the team that everybody sort of respects, and you step on the court and then you got the guys on the baseline who were taking the videos, the Instagram videos and all this stuff, and guys are putting on highlights. It was a pretty cool experience standing there watching the kids work. So they made me look.
So here's the question, Bryan. And I've been in that position before where I've had to sub for the head coach. Did you coach like he would have coached and read all his stuff? Or did you get the clipboard, and even though it's summer ball, you really don't have an opportunity to use the clipboard too often, but did you do something that you always wanted to do, but you never could because you wasn't the man?
No. Because I was at practice all week. So we practiced all week. I knew we were running something. We were trying a little something different this summer. So, I helped out a lot with that. We're still working out some kinks. I got one particular inbound play, which I like. So I introduced that, but we run it before, so the kids knew it. But I was the one who kind of introduced it to the head coach. I'm like Edwin Morris said, I'm gonna definitely get my brag on right now. Definitely. I'm gonna brag a little, Edwin. Thank you. So no, but yeah, no, I didn't go rogue because the kids would have looked at me like, huh? But so I didn't fuss at them as much as Coach would. So, but we, fun group of kids. Orlando Christian Prep. If you guys are ever in the Orlando area looking for a good high school team, if you're coming in town, look us up, ocpathletics.com. Anyway, so that's enough about me, and that's why this show is on Monday instead of Sunday night. So quick shout out before we get going here. Got to say, hey, what's up to Walter Harley, checking in from Fort Washington, Maryland. Go Livingston College, Blueberry. You know what? My family, on my mom's side grew up, or actually my cousins were born in Fort Washington, Maryland. Shout out to Fort Washington, Maryland, part of the DMV, I believe, right? Mary 305 jump in. How you doing, Mary? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Be interesting to see how many folks we get in today. Obviously, with the different start time and everything, we'll see what kind of fun we have tonight. So on this episode,
shout out to Dr. Cavill. He shot me a text yesterday. He's like, no show. And that's all it said. No show. Question.
Yeah. We're bad about, maybe we got to put out we got to remember to put out an announcement from our Facebook page or Twitter handle when we don't do a show, and kind of post when the next show. You'd think after 6 years of doing this that we would know to do that, right? But anyway, hopefully you guys
be just like your favorite sitcom. They gonna move us around so much. Hopefully they don't move us off the network.
Yeah, wow. Make sure you're following us at MyBCSN1, the number 1 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow our particular show Facebook page, BCSN SportsWrap, on Facebook.com. And sometimes we will post some things there in in lieu of that. And so, hey, okay, Drew. So what's above the fold, Drew, is we'll call our opening segment something new we're gonna try to do and see how consistent we can be with it. But we're not gonna try to explain what that means right now. If you know, put it in the comments. But what's above the fold? Do you want me to lead off, or do you want to lead off with something?
All I'm gonna say is you're probably above 40 if you know what's above the fold. I'm just gonna leave it at that. 40?
You don't think any 35-year-olds would get it?
Possibly. They had to have a grandparent in the house. But no, I'll lead it off.
Yeah. All right, you got first. What we got?
And I'm just not, and I'm well, you didn't see that.
Uh-oh. Down goes Drew. There we go.
Down goes Frazier. I moved the cord to my camera because it was covering my screen, and the whole thing just didn't fail. All right, this is hot off the press, Brian. CIAA announces its football media day, and its media day will run Wednesday, July 19th through Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Tanglewood in Roanoke, Virginia. Each of the CIAA's 12 head football coaches and a returning player from each school will discuss the outlook of their prospective programs and expectations for the upcoming season. This event will be highlighted by the release of the CIAA preseason football all-conference team, along with the predicted order of finish and the television broadcast schedule for 2023. The circuit will also feature additional Q&A between head coaches, players, and the media. CIAA Football Media Day will open at 9 a.m. and will conclude with remarks from CIAA Commissioner Jackie McWilliams-Parker.
So now it says it's the 19th through the 20th. So they're doing a 2-day. Am I understanding that?
Yeah. The 19th is a clinic. It's a youth clinic, ages 7 to 13. Okay. And that is here at Salem Football Stadium, which you know is where they host the championship game at. Right. And the clinic is from 6 to 7:30 on the 19th. That's Wednesday the 19th, and on Thursday the 20th will be the actual media portion of the event.
So again, where is the CIAA headquartered?
In Charlotte, I do believe.
Really?
Yes. But a lot of the championships are in Virginia.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't I don't know. I'm well removed from my time in Virginia, so I don't know. I just the connection with Salem. I'd love to know more why. Props to the city of Salem for. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they're writing a check, I mean, hey, great, okay. Props to Salem, Virginia, for getting events. I'd have to go look at a map and figure out where Salem, Roanoke is, and all of that. I'm real rusty.
Actually, you fly directly into Roanoke.
You do?
Yes, because I flew up there for the CIAA last year and flew straight into Roanoke.
Okay.
And Brian.
Yeah.
Now that I am looking at that date, because this is the first time I've seen this,
I was just about to do it. Go ahead.
It's the next day.
I was just about to say, yes, indeed. I was looking at the calendar. Yes, so we have the CIAA on Thursday the 20th. Then you got the MEAC on Friday the 21st. And then on, I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday the 25th or 26th. Tuesday. So that means Tuesday the 25th is the SWAC. So it actually is pretty smart, I think, of the CIAA to do it that way, because the MEAC is in Norfolk. So any media that is going to be in Roanoke on Thursday the 20th, can easily scoot over to Norfolk, I think heading south to Norfolk on the 21st. Then catch a plane if you want to stay the weekend, enjoy Virginia Beach, everything like that over the weekend. Then get on the plane Monday and head from Norfolk, Virginia to Birmingham, Alabama, and be in town Monday night ready for the SWAC on Tuesday. That's how I would travel if I had a budget to travel.
It's a 4-hour drive from Salem to Norfolk.
Yeah. Well, no. I thought the media day was in Roanoke.
Salem, Roanoke, it's the same place.
All right, it's all the same place. So yeah, that's how I would be traveling if I'm scooting from from CIAA to the MEAC to the SWAC. And now, of course, the SIAC though is the entire week before the Wednesday the 12th, I believe it is.
Yes, the they have a 2-day event also with the
Hall of Fame on the 11th,
with the SIAC Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and then the 12th is that. So yeah, that's all right. So good stuff.
Yeah. Hey Brian.
Hey Drew.
The drive is 1 minute further from Roanoke, Virginia than it was from Salem, Virginia.
Oh. Okay. So what you're saying is, okay, cities that are right next to each other, basically.
Yes.
All right. Good deal. All right. Let me, I'll grab the next headline, and it has to do with this weekend was the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Actually, I'm going to go twofold here. Just like if we were doing a snake draft, I'm going to take the next two because they both involve the Black College Football Hall of Fame. So on Friday, the HBCU Legacy Bowl, which is run by the Black College Football Hall of Fame, got a title sponsor. Allstate became the title sponsor, announcing a multi-year partnership with and the exclusive title sponsorship. So it is now the Allstate HBCU Legacy Bowl. And the game will still be broadcast on the NFL Network. There will be a featured combine. Now, I would like to think that, and I'm going to read here. I'm trying to find the quote. Well, I thought I had seen a quote about the financials, but let's just say I would hope that the financials of bringing in a title sponsor will allow for the Legacy Bowl to do something with a live combine. For example, I know that was one of those critiques that we've heard about over the last couple of years. I think it's time, right? I think it's time for them to actually move into that direction. Any thoughts on the any reaction there to the title sponsorship before I go to the next piece of news regarding the Black College Football Hall of Fame, Drew?
Nope, the good hands, people. So let's hope that this Legacy Bowl is in good hands with Allstate.
Well said. Okay, so the class of 2023 was inducted on Saturday. They included Leslie Frazier from Alcorn State, Henry Lawrence from Florida A&M, Elijah Pitts from Philander Smith, Johnny Walton from Elizabeth City State, Tyrone McGriff from Florida A&M, Jim Marsalis from Tennessee State, Albert Lewis from Grambling State, and Coach Pete Richardson from Southern and Winston-Salem State. So congratulations to those 8 folks. I think I saw also that the Hall of Fame also took a moment or took time to recognize their team of the year, team and coach of the year. I think went to Trey. What's the coach's name? Oliver. Coach Oliver. I almost called him another name just because his name is on my head. Trey Oliver. Trey Oliver was the coach of the year, North Carolina Central team of the year. I think.
I believe Shador was player of the year.
Was he player of the year?
Yes.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't think they did the best job, in my opinion, of putting that out there, but I think it had already been out there previously.
That might have been intentional, Brian.
The NFLPA Player of the Year was Titus Howard. He was honored by the Black College Football Hall of Fame as their NFL Player of the Year. Now, he was the Black College Football Pro Player of the Year. So obviously very intentional to recognize an HBCU player that's in the NFL, which I say kudos to. So props to Titus from Alabama State, of course. First round draft pick, I believe, right? The last first round draft pick from an HBCU. So, all right. You want to go one more, Drew, since it's your turn, or go two more?
Yeah.
Off with a third.
I'll just go one more, but I'll kind of encompass this all in one. Hope that everyone saw that Alabama State finished 5th in the 4x1 after finishing 6th on the track. And I believe that was, who was it? Texas Tech?
Texas Tech,
yes.
Yeah.
Texas Tech was, after winning the race, was disqualified for passing the baton outside of the exchange zone.
So that's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We were talking about that offline. That's why I wasn't sure why they got DQ'd.
North Carolina A&T's Raheem Hales finishes 6th in the 400. Pamela Solomon qualifies in the 100-meter hurdles. So those are a couple of track highlights that we have for you as of right now.
All right. I feel like I was hoping you would do 2, so I can drop in this third nugget. So I will. I got
one more. I got one more I could put in there. Because this has come out.
Go ahead. One more.
Going back to the CIAA, they have announced that they've extended the basketball tournament in Baltimore through 2026. Mayor Brandon Scott visited Baltimore, the state of Maryland, and the CIAA, the nation's oldest HBCU conference, announced on the 8th that they would extend their run in Baltimore through 2026, following the successful run through 2023. We are proud that the CIAA tournament will call Baltimore home for the next 3 years. The tournament belongs in the Charm City, and this proves it, says Governor Moore. In order for this to be Maryland's decade, it needs to be Baltimore's time. Each year, the tournament is an opportunity to showcase what our state has to offer, bring people to Maryland, and drive economic growth. The CIAA tournament had approximately 38,450 fans in attendance over the 22 basketball games during this 5-day run in Baltimore, exceeding 2022's attendance by 5.6%. In total, Brian, there were 63,844 individuals based on turnstile numbers, including media, student athletes, coaches, staff, and other individuals who entered the arena during the week with or without a ticket. Economic impact, and I know I'm getting long-winded, $29.6 million. 1,500 part-time and full-time jobs, and generate $2.5 million in state and local taxes. That is why they bring events like this to their city.
And I asked, I saw, I don't know where you pulled that info from, but I saw an article by Stephen Gaither, HBCU Game Day. And I was curious what the numbers were compared to Charlotte. That's my only thing. I think when you post an article like that, I think it'd be good to kind of compare. Now, unless the numbers are less than Charlotte, then obviously you're not going to put that out there. But
no, you're just going to talk about your numbers.
Right. You're just going to talk about the positive of Baltimore. But I'm curious if anybody has seen or knows any of the numbers from Charlotte, especially just say the last, let's say 2 years. I don't think you got to go back further, or maybe before COVID, because
which is when they switched over anyway.
Yeah, so I would say the 2 years before COVID. Yeah. What was the impact?
One other thing of note, Brian? The local host committee made a $1.2 million donation to the CIAA General Scholarship Fund that supports the conference's 12 member institutions. Simple math, Brian. $1.2 million, $100,000 per institution.
Okay. Hey, not gonna sneeze at the money. All good stuff. Good stuff. Congratulations to the city of Baltimore. All right, so I will lead off with the final. Or I'll close it off with the last note, and it has to do with the HBCU Swingman Classic. Major League Baseball taking an opportunity to advance their initiatives here. Already, the MLB has a youth development foundation. Ken Griffey Jr. is an ambassador of that, of course. So given that the All-Star game is going to be in Seattle this year, this will be the first year of that, of the MLB hosting this classic, this All-Star game to sort of kick off the All-Star weekend. It'll happen on a Friday. The weekend is when you have I think there are Major League games still going on, but
yes,
yeah, but Major League activities, All-Star activities will be going on that weekend, and then you of course get into the more traditional Monday
home run
derby, and the actual game is on Tuesday, right? So, but this is a big deal as I really liked what I saw. MLB Network, the online, Harold Reynolds did an MLB Network did something. It was about an 8-minute video. Ken Griffey was a part of it. But they just talked about the opportunities that guys are going to have. 50 HBCU players, baseball players, are going to have an opportunity to showcase their skills in front of more Major League scouts. Now I'm looking at the list here because what I wanted to do eventually, Drew, was kind of go through and kind of see how many players from different schools. Like, for example, I know Florida A&M has 4 players, but I just wanted to kind of see how many other players are from other schools. I don't see any non-Division I players in this list that I'm looking at from this article I'm looking at from Game Day. You've got obviously the 2 Alabama schools, Alcorn, UAPB, Bethune, Coppin, Delaware State, FAM, Grambling, Jackson, Maryland Eastern Shore, Valley, Norfolk State, A&T, Prairie View, Southern, Texas Southern. Almost practically the entire SWAC, I believe, has somebody in it. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I think we've seen some pretty good Division II and even NAIA baseball players. I would hope that in the future that they can find a way to incorporate these guys into this program. What are your thoughts?
Well, if they're only taking Division I players, that's an average of almost 3 players per team, considering that there are 18 HBCU baseball teams. Do I have that number right? 18, 17?
You're going to make me do a count. Go
ahead. You got
12.
You got 12, 6. They're 12, 4, and 1. There are 17.
17. Yep, that's exactly right. 17.
Yeah, 12-4-1. So it's just short of 3 per team if you average it out with just Division I players. But Bryan, I'm supposed to get real for a minute.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And I wish I had my hat to put on.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was not for Minority Baseball Prospects MVP, I don't think this idea hits the ground. Alex Hines, Reggie Hollins, Jericho Calhoun, and all those guys over there at MVP put this thing together 3 years ago, with the first one being in Birmingham, last year being in Truist Park in Atlanta, and this year being at the home of the Gwinnett Strikers.
Stripers.
So, Strikers.
Not strippers, stripers.
I said strike. I thought it was Strikers.
No, now see, now you
With
with
the-
strikers though. STRIPPERS.
Okay, Strikers. Anyway, the first one was at in Hoover, the Hoover Bet, the home of the SEC tournament, and then the last two have been in the Atlanta metro area. But anyway, they came up with this concept. They've been doing this concept for the last 3 years. So let's give a shout out to MVP for having the idea for, dare I say it, Bryan, for MLB to steal. I'm gonna leave it right there. But getting back to my point, I'm just curious as to see how many MVP All-Stars are on this Swingman Classic All-Star list.
Sounds like some research you're about to do.
Yeah. So I don't know what the partnership was or was not between MVP and MLB, because I do know that MLB does support MVP, but this was.
Look at it this way. Way. Major League Baseball. I mean, this isn't to say that MVP can't continue to do what they're doing, because they have their
grassroots
and
their grassroots.
But not just to the grassroots, but their event is in June. This is Major League Baseball adding. Basically, it's the essential of what actually you want to take MVP and give them credit. This is essentially what the NBA did by putting. Well, did the NBA do this? Did they put an all-star game, or by having games during their all-star weekend? This is the equivalent of that. You know what I'm saying? Or the NCAA tournament, making sure that you have an HBCU all-star game associated. So it's really more so about Major League Sports, including HBCUs, because yes, I mean, look, the more opportunities.
Because our participation in baseball, when I say our African-American participation in baseball in general, sucks.
It's low.
It's terrible.
It's low.
Or in my best Charles Barkley, it's terrible.
I think there are guys out there. I mean, I think that's the one thing that I have seen is that I think we hold on to this narrative that our guys aren't playing baseball. I think we're holding on to that narrative, and it's not entirely true. We're not playing it at the numbers that guys are playing AAU basketball or grassroots basketball, Nike, Adidas, all the other stuff. They're not playing it at those high numbers. They're not even playing it at high numbers like 7-on-7s and stuff in football. But they're out there.
I have my reasons.
They're playing. You have your reasons?
Yes.
What are your reasons? What do you mean you have your reasons? Don't be ominous like that and then walk away.
I think we need to go to a break, because if I start my reasons now, we're going to miss our first break. So let's go to our break, and then I'll come back with my reasons.
Your reasons. Okay. Well, we will we'll hear more of Drew's reasons. Don't start singing any Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, please, in the background.
I can't hit that note.
You can't hit that
Got no
note.
more.
I won't even try. My voice is still a little. I got this vocal fry thing going on right now, so no, I won't even try it. But all right, well, let's take our first break. Come back. We got to talk about the top 5. So that's what we came here to do. So once Drew finishes with his reasons, we'll get into talking about our top 5 games and top 5 stories from the past year. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a moment.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford here. That's A.D. Drew. What I'm looking for, Drew, is I'm looking to see if I have my Stride read. If I don't, this is what I'll simply say, which I don't have right now, unfortunately. I have to get on the boss about that. But we do want to let any teacher know, new and existing teachers, there are a ton of teaching resources that you can get absolutely free by simply visiting mybcsn.net/watch/stride, and you can take advantage of some of those resources brought to us by our friends at Stride. And I think also it'd really be helpful is if when you go to the site, if you would take a moment, and if it asks you how you found out about it, just let them know you found out about it via the Black College Sports Network. So I think there's an option there that'll let you do that. So, all right. Drew, you were going to give us some reasons. Again, we were coming out of the last break talking really about Major League Baseball, the Swingman Classic, the HBCU All-Star Initiative. What's the T? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I do want to give kudos for MLB for trying to put this event on, for trying to get African Americans back into the baseball, into playing baseball. But, Bryan, hold on, let me back up. Let me preface it by saying this. My first love was baseball. My favorite sport may be basketball, but my first love was baseball.
Sure.
So when I'm saying this out of my love for the game. Bryan, why would a parent push their child to go and play collegiate baseball? Let's talk about the collegiate portion of it. Mm-hmm. When in baseball on the college level, you have 11.7 scholarships to divide among 27 rostered players. And that's on the Division I level. 9 scholarships max on the Division II level, which we know our HBCUs do not typically fund all 9. And I'm not quite sure what the NAIA number is, but it's somewhere around that number. So, what does that mean? Simply stated, baseball is an equivalency sport. That means you take the money, whatever that 11.7 is, times whatever your cost of tuition, and you divide it up amongst, you can only give it out to a maximum of 27 players, right? Despite the fact we carry 35 and 40 man rosters, you can only give money to 27 players, athletic money. Mm-hmm. So why would I play baseball if I'm an elite athlete, a multi-sport athlete coming out of high school, when I could play basketball and get a full scholarship, of which there are 13 for men, or I could play football, of which there are 85 at the FBS level and 63 at the FBS level, 36 at the Division II level, and 15 at the NAIA level, which is an equivalency sport at the NAIA level, Division II at NAIA. But Division I, FBS, FCS, you can give, where FBS is all full. FCS, you can give full or you can split it up. Why, Bryan? Does it make mathematical sense?
I'm looking at a
educational portion of it.
I'm gonna disagree with you a bit about the mathematics on that. And I haven't.
I have to take out a loan or count, instead of getting my Pell Grant back. My Pell Grant has to go towards my tuition now if I play baseball.
Okay.
If I play football, I get my Pell Grant back as a refund. If I play basketball, I get my Pell Grant back as a refund. If I play baseball, y'all take my Pell Grant and I probably have student loans.
Great question. So this is I'd love to be able to bring somebody on to answer some of these questions, because here's what I will say. The sport that I'm going to get broken up the least of the big three is baseball. it's also the sport that is less, it doesn't require me to have the, so I'm going to say this. In terms of level of athletes, basketball players are the unique level of athletes that have been blessed to be it because of height, running ability, athleticism. I think that is your, touched by God, kiss of God, level athlete.
Right.
Then you start getting into the differences between football and baseball, and the sport that is going to less physical is baseball.
Definitely.
And in terms of longevity, is baseball.
Definitely.
And so I think there are opportunities. Now, it's funny you started talking about this because my eyes, as I've got this story pulled up on MLB.com, comes to this quote, and it brings me to while I'm listening to you talk about the scholarship numbers, I'm wondering if what MLB is doing will allow for, whether it be athletic programs or teams, to be able to apply for, I'm just going to say, let's say, grant money or whatever, however the money is distributed to help fund scholarships for players. So here's this quote from Ken Griffey Jr., excuse me, who is the MLB-MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. So he says Major League Baseball is thrilled to continue to work alongside. I'm sorry, you know what? This is actually coming from the Chief Baseball Development Officer of MLB. So I'm sorry. So here's the quote. Major League Baseball is thrilled to continue to work alongside Ken Griffey Jr. and the MLBA-MLBPA Youth Development Foundation to bring this groundbreaking event to MLB All-Star Week, highlighting the talent at HBCU baseball programs is an important part of how we connect with college baseball while also improving African-American representation at all levels of our game. We are excited this opportunity to these players and for our fans to witness this new game. Okay, so that wasn't what I was just on it. Where did the doggone thing go? Okay, so it was Griffey. Griffey said, I am excited to help these kids get the national attention that they don't receive compared to other college baseball programs, blah, blah, blah. Over the years, we have seen the decline of African-American players, not because they don't want to play, but rather because they haven't been seen. College scholarships for baseball are not comparative to other sports, point you just brought up, right? And a lot of families cannot afford to pay the difference. Another point you just brought up. So this effort is the industry coming together to give these kids an opportunity to play the game they love on the national stage. Financial restrictions prevent them from going to schools that give more exposure. The Swingman Classic will try to close that gap. So I
just saying all that, Brian.
You did, but it sounded great coming from Ken Griffey Jr.
It didn't sound good coming from me. Screw you.
And Ken Griffey just said what you said in a different way. But no, you're right, Drew. You said exactly what Ken Griffey Jr. was saying.
And I got another caveat to throw in there, Brian.
What?
Okay. I talked about this from an educational point of view, correct? And that really doesn't matter if you're talking HBCU or HWCU, what I was describing, correct, Brian?
Right.
All right. Now, let's take this one step further with baseball. If I'm that good at baseball coming out of high school, I'm not going to college, Brian.
You're not going to college, exactly.
I am going. I'm going to the draft, and I'm going to spend a year, 2 years in the minor leagues, and then hopefully make it to the big show.
Yep.
So that's another reason why, if I'm that good, then Brian, let's not even get into the travel ball portion of this. Of all the major sports that offer travel ball leagues, baseball is by far the most expensive with the tournaments.
More expensive than soccer and lacrosse? That's an interesting study.
Lacrosse may get it. Soccer, yes, it's definitely more expensive than soccer. You know why it's more expensive? You know why I would put it more expensive than soccer, Brian?
You're probably gonna go equipment.
Exactly. Because all you need for soccer are some cleats.
Some cleats, yeah.
Baseball requires glove, and if you play multiple positions, you have to have multiple gloves. You got to have an outfield glove. You got to have an infield glove. Don't play first base. You got to have a first baseman's mitt. And if you catch, you have to have a catcher's mitt. Oh, did I say catch, Brian? That means you have to have catcher's equipment.
Yeah.
In addition to your batting helmet, a $500 bat, and all the body armor that you can stand.
Yep.
So, that's another thing. Oh, Brian, how do you pitch? What do you have to do every Tuesday and Thursday? You got to go to pitching lessons, Brian. You don't have to go. Yes.
Probably got a hitting coach and a pitching coach.
You got a hitting coach. You've got a pitching coach. Yes, people use personal trainers for football, basketball, and even soccer.
But not like baseball.
But not like baseball. And push come to shove, you can actually go YouTube your video, go down to the park, Brian, and play basketball, work on these things yourself at the local park. If kids even still go to the park, Brian, but that's a whole different story.
Baseball is a hard sport to do by yourself.
Oh, if I want to practice soccer, Brian, all I need is a patch of grass in the backyard or somewhere. I need nothing else but a patch of grass. Same thing with football. You could go out get a couple of your buddies and y'all can play football in a patch of grass. Baseball, I need a diamond. I need somebody to throw the ball to me. I need someone to catch the ball. So, yeah.
John
Richardson. I might give you that one, John.
He just trumped you on that one. Hockey might be the most expensive sport.
I might give you that one.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, but
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But my point is, and once again, I love baseball, but unless my child was left-handed, Brian, and throwing 90,
right?
I personally would not push my child to play baseball. Matter of fact, my son played baseball growing up. Hey, you know what his problem was with baseball? Why he stopped playing baseball, Brian?
Why?
He got to be too damn tall.
And
for those who don't know, my son is 6'6".
So if he's not a pitcher, that's a problem.
And you know why he wasn't a pitcher, Brian? Because on his youth team, when he was growing up, there was not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 left-handed kids on his team.
Ooh.
Where are you gonna put the left-handed kid? Where you put the left-handed kids at, Brian? Pitcher, first base, outfield.
Yeah.
What positions did my son play? First base, outfield.
Yeah.
So what did he have to do to get playing time? He had to learn how to be a catcher.
Ooh.
Well, when you're 10 years old and you're wearing the 13 and 14-year-old equipment, because of your size, how long you think that was gonna last, Brian?
Yeah, that was it. But see, once again, he grew. He grew to a certain size where, like I said,
he was always the tallest kid. So
right. So it's like your height forces you into certain
basketball.
Into certain.
Which is why he wound up playing basketball and football in high school.
Right. My curious thing, and then we can get off of this if you want. When he said, and I'm reading the last part about Griffey's quote, the HBCU Swingman Classic will try and close the gap. I personally think the gap is not really with these guys in exposure. I think there is a bigger gap that you just spoke of, and that even Griffey himself talked about, which is the lack of scholarships for baseball. Because that is a bigger gap in funding, which, a lot of athletic programs need funding. But if we're just talking about how can Major League Baseball give back to a sport, there's a need there. There's a need across all of college. It just amazed me. I don't know what college based, and maybe this is where MLB, if MLB wanted to make more, if MLB worked probably better with the NCAA, and I don't know that they don't. I'm not saying they don't, but if they treated the NCAA as a minor league like the NBA and the NFL does college basketball and college football, you might see that scholarship number thing change. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Here's one other thing, Brian, and I'll just be frank and real when I bring this subject up.
B.A.D. as well. Go ahead. Bad joke. Go ahead. It just hit me there. When you said let me be frank, I was like, okay, here's a joke coming. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Right. So wrong. Go ahead.
A lot of collegiate baseball coaches don't recruit black baseball players. And when they recruit black baseball players, they tend to get pigeonholed. Almost like the black quarterback back in the day, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
How many College World Series is on right now?
We're getting there.
For the last couple of weekends.
Final two teams are being, I think, are decided today. Final two teams. They've got 6 of the 8 already decided.
How many black pitchers have you seen?
Well, it's funny. I saw a couple from Alabama get rocked by Wake Forest over yesterday. But other than that,
how many black catchers have you seen?
Oh.
How many black first basemen have you seen?
Okay.
Now let's flip that. How many black outfielders have you seen? How many black shortstops? How many black second basemen?
Okay, but
you get pigeonholed, and I'm going.
There's a reason you get pigeonholed. Is there not?
Because you're black?
No. Oh, come on, stop it. It's because you're athletic, you're fast. You just
first base may be my best position. Just because I'm the fastest thing out there doesn't mean I can go out to left field and go chase a ball down.
No offense to
I can scoop the hell out the ball.
No offense to the kid that's shaped like me. There's no offense to the kid that's shaped with a dad bod. That's why he's at first base, Drew. Come on now, stop it.
But if I'm a better hitter than you, if I'm a better hitter than you and a better fielder than you, I should be playing first base.
Why? I disagree.
If I'm a better first baseman, if I'm better defensively and offensively than you, let's be real, I should be starting at my best position.
Look, we're traveling down a path that I'm not familiar with, so I can't stand here and on the other box.
Watch the College World Series. Count pitchers, catchers, first base, third base.
Well, but if you're going, okay. All right. I mean, Drew, it's like saying okay, Drew, here comes Victor Wembanyama. Are you going to give him a point guard? Are you going to make him the point guard of the team? 7'5" kid from France. Are you turning him into the point guard of the team?
They said the same thing about Magic Johnson back in 1979.
God. Oh my God. See, there you go. Okay. You good point. Touche. All right. Well said. All right, Drew. Okay. So here's an interesting thought here by John. What if the MLB concentrate more on those positions that they let us away from more?
And all I'm saying is, if a kid's a natural first baseman, give him an opportunity to play first base. Don't just move him to right field or to left field because he's black. And I know this, and I'm saying this, Brian, because I know this has happened to African American athletes who've played at. It starts at high school, actually.
Okay,
Brian.
hold on. Let me start. Let me say, if I and we do this in basketball as well. If I have two kids, and I have if I have one kid who's good in both areas, okay, you're to go with your theory.
I'm not saying he's good at both areas. The only thing I've ever played is first base.
Well, but if you okay, come on, that's not true. Because now if you're built like me, then yes, you've been stuck on first base all your life. You're not putting me in the outfield because you know I'm slow as heck. And you're not putting me a shortstop because I can't move laterally. Okay.
DH.
But if it were somebody maybe built like you or your son, you might, and who could do first base and outfield and do multiple positions. And then the kid B is built with a dad bod. And okay, maybe he's not black. What are you going to do, Drew, as a coach? You're going to take the kid that is I've used this word one time in coaching and I regretted using it. You're going to take the kid that's less of a liability and stick him in the place where he can be the most successful and move the kid who can do multiple things into the other spot, because that's what helps the team.
Okay, Brian. Who are the players who tend to get drafted by MLB? How many outfielders used to be pitchers? You know why they move? Why they put, or when you get to the minor leagues, why they move pitchers into the outfield? Because they could throw the ball. Barry Bonds was a pitcher. Mark McGwire was a pitcher. Two of the best home run hitters ever.
Usually the best athletic kids are probably pitchers growing up.
They were pitchers.
Yeah. Again, that's putting your best in position where it help the team be successful.
My point, but that's when you get to the professional level. My point is,
I think you're doing it even at the younger level as well.
If I am at the collegiate level, and if I could throw the ball 90 miles an hour, why am I in left field?
All right, you know what we need to do for next week's show? Let's make a call to Coach Hollins of MVP, and we got to bring him on. I want him to either debunk or give us some truthful analysis. Yeah, I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect. I don't have a strong background in baseball to argue your point. I'm just kind of inserting my own opinions as a basketball coach and just trying to look at this from a team perspective. But I will say I would love to hear from a baseball guy, a guy who's in it, a guy who this, like, you've had to scout. He's been from a scout coach. Now he runs an organization that's trying to help kids not only get to colleges but get to the professional leagues. I want to hear his thought on some of your takes and some of your questions. So, do you think you can put that together?
I'll contact Coach Hollins.
Or worst case, I know Alex. I know Alex as well. Alex is he's coached baseball.
Coach Kador,
baseball guy.
Coach Kador,
now, if you can pull out Coach Kador, hey, that'd be a great interview as well.
We talk about baseball, Jeremiah.
And then we can even get into we got a little long-winded in talking about baseball, but obviously Coach Kadar is a part of the group that is functioning with the HBCU Swingman Classic. So it'd be great conversation. So there's see what you can put together, Drew. We can find one of those guys that'd be willing to come on and talk to us.
Another freaking homework assignment, Brian, during the summer. You roll for that.
Did you ever finish the other one Doc had you doing?
Huh?
Did you ever finish the other?
I got bad connection, Brian. I think we need to go to break.
Hey,
my internet is Buffering.
Don't mess around like that, because see, I start to worry. You know, I realistically was worrying, like, oh, doggone, man, what's going on? Yeah. Okay. Coming up after this short break.
We're gonna get back on script.
We're gonna get back on script. Top 5 games of 2022-23. So you guys in the chat room, you guys watching, start thinking about your top 5 games. It doesn't matter the sport. We're not gonna do football or basketball. We're just talking across the board. The year is over. We want top 5 games. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're talking about on the other side of the break. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeaversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap Live Monday night edition. Myself, Bryan Fulford, A.D. Drew here. We normally do our show on Sunday nights, but as of late, we've been, we haven't been able to kind of tie things down with the Sunday night, just life stuff happening. We bumped yesterday's show to today. And our normal time for next Sunday just happens to be Father's Day. So I think great suggestion by Drew. We're going to do the show next Monday as well. And it'll actually also be Juneteenth. So we will have a Juneteenth episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. I don't know what that'll look like, but it'll be Drew and I don't know. Maybe we'll try to find some unique historical thing we could talk about. But tonight, Monday night, it also happens to be game number 5 of the NBA Finals. So, Drew, I ask you, will the Denver Nuggets close the series tonight, or will the Heat have some life and force a game 6?
We'll be playing on Thursday night.
Ooh. Game number 5 is tonight in Denver. I think it's over. I think the series
Gentlemen
will
sweep, huh?
Yeah. I think the series will end. Now, when you hear that phrase, gentlemen sweep, and I saw this on Twitter. I saw this on Twitter 1.0, by the way. Does a gentleman sweep do you just qualify a gentleman sweep as a 5-game series, or is it whoever wins the first 3, then you give up the 4th, and then you win the 5th?
Ooh.
Or maybe some other combination of that. Like if you win the first 2, then you lose game 3, and then you win the next 2. Is that a gentleman's sweep? How do you define a gentleman's sweep?
I think either one of those scenarios that you mentioned, up 2-0 or up 3-0.
Okay. So up 3-0. Okay. So either or 2 or 3-0. Okay. Yeah. But you don't consider a gentleman's sweep if it goes 1-1 and then you win the next 3. That doesn't strike you as a gentleman's sweep.
Nah, that's just a 4-1. 4-1.
All right. So the game is coming on at 8:30, coming on pretty soon here. So we're going to try not to be too long here. Maybe we're going to make an effort. We're going to go hard at this effort, Drew, to make sure we're out so that we're not too long into the first quarter, first half. The game is on.
Well, I know nobody watching the full quarter anyway, so.
Great point. I did happen to make that little reference. I think you caught it. Did you know there was going to be they're working on a Twitter 2.0. I was just seeing a tweet from the new CEO of Twitter. I don't know what's going to be different.
He the best of Twitter so bad he just got to reinvent it, huh?
No. This is a woman. There's a woman that's now the CEO of Twitter.
So Musk is gone.
No. He's the I don't know, what do you call him? The tweeter in chief. I don't know, something like that. And then this lady, if I have her name right, Linda Yaccarino, Yassarino, maybe. I don't know. I believe she is the new CEO. She's going to be. They're just talking about Twitter 0.0. Twitter 0.0 is trending, so I don't know. You guys go take a look.
As long as I don't have to get another blue check, as long as they transfer my blue check, I'm good.
Yeah, we had a. Yeah. Are we in? I don't even know. Look, I'm reading these tweets. Are we in the middle of Twitter 2.0 right now? Or I don't know. I'm so confused. Anyway, I don't even understand what we're doing. Folks just won't leave things alone. You got some good stuff happening. Leave it alone. All right. So here we go. We're going to talk best of 22-23. And we talk about our 5 games. Now, obviously, when we do these kind of things, Drew, it could go all over the place. And I admittedly feel a little disappointed that I want to do more, because as I was going through some of the stuff, there's so many different things we could do. We could talk about top performance of the year. We could talk about athletic administrative moves over the past year. Obviously, we're going to talk about the top story headlines. We can even go month by month. I mean, there's so many things we could do here, Drew. So I'm hoping this falls well, because I thought you guys on episode 401, you, Charles Bishop, did a great job of
Sonia Stamps.
Well, yeah, but I don't think she wasn't part of the segment in which you guys did the recap of the year. So I didn't mention her initially, but yes, overall, all three of you did a good job in terms of the show. But I think the segment was just you and Charles doing the recap of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, we took it for the last three segments, and then the closeout segment, I kind of did a month by month trying to jar Charles's memories.
Oh, okay, that's how that was. Okay, so my bad, my apologies then. So after listening to that, I said let's narrow down the top 5, right? Because that's what we do on the SportsWrap. We love doing top 5s, and this is hard. And so I'm not even going to try to do this in unless you did. Did you do this in a 5-1? Is that what you did, or did you?
No, I kind of did it, but I think we need to keep. We definitely have to take football separate from the other sports.
See, I don't want to do that. I don't. We're going to be here all day if we do that. I just want to include. We're talking games, so we're talking the entire year, best games, regardless of the sport.
Well, let's just go over some of the candidates.
Oh my God, no! Let's not go over the candidates. Let's do what we came to. You went through a lot of the candidates. If you want to hear the candidates, go to episode 401 of Dr. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, specifically the last 15 minutes of the show. You guys did a great job with the candidates. I'm messing, Drew, but I remember I'm trying to get us out of here at 9, and you're fighting with me again. You're like the wind, and I'm going uphill. So anyway. All right, so because I don't know when you talk about the candidates, I don't. All right, Drew, you're killing me. Go, Drew. Quick rundown of candidates. Go.
All right, in football,
quickly.
Jackson State defeats Florida A&M 59-3 in the Orange Blossom Classic. Lane defeats Tennessee State in overtime on Tennessee State's homecoming. I believe that was a 29-28 score. Virginia Union defeats, at that time, the number 2 ranked Valdosta State on the road, 45-20. How about North Carolina Central defeating New Hampshire on the road, who was ranked number 25 at the time? Shaw beating Bowie State, and that knocked, I believe, Bowie State had like a 2-year undefeated streak, 2 or 3 year undefeated streak in the CIAA at that point in time. North Carolina Central defeats Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl in overtime. Alcorn State defeats McNeese State 30-19. What's significant about that? That is the first SWAC school to win against a non-HBCU, and we still have. I don't even know if we even quantified when it was, but it's been some years. We'll just say that.
No. And let me correct you on that one. Actually, it's more so about the first SWAC school beating McNeese State. That's what that one is.
And it was a non-HBCU.
Right. Well, but
the SWAC was like 0 for the last 5 years against non-HBCUs.
And they were 0 for like 12 or something of that point against McNeese State.
Yeah. How about Lincoln, PA getting his first road CIAA victory since 2009? And my favorite one, how about Tuskegee winning its 700th all-time victory against West Alabama in week 3 of the season? Those are your football candidates, Brian.
All right, I'm not commenting until it's time to do. I told you I'm mixing.
Oh, you want me to go through every? You want me to go through all of them?
You wanted to say the nominees, so I'm gonna let you go through all of them.
Basketball. Southern women defeated Jackson State at the buzzer in the SWAC semifinals? How about Hampton, Howard facing each other in the BAC championship game? How about Rust, if we're going to go to the GCAC in AIA, defeating Philander Smith? Not only, let's see, Rust defeated, that was in the women's game, Brian. How about Tulu defeating Philander Smith in the men's game? Both those games were buzzer beaters in the GCAC tournament. And how about Tennessee State winning the SWAC basketball tournament as the number 8 seed, Brian?
Texas Southern.
Yes, Texas Southern. Excuse me, wrong TSU. How about softball? How about Edward Waters in their transition year defeating perennial SIAC power Tuskegee in the SIAC softball championship game and being the only 40-win HBCU softball team? How about?
Glad it didn't hit you.
I'm like, what was that? What was that?
That could have been tragic.
Yes, especially how heavy that thing is. How about Alcorn and Grambling in that SWAC semifinal game, Brian? Moving on to baseball. How about day 2 of the tournament when Bethune rallies to beat Southern in the bottom of the 9th inning to stay alive in the elimination bracket? And how about Alabama State scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th to beat FAMU and move them into the elimination bracket? So those are our top games of the year, Brian.
All right. You know, another game I thought about, which softball game was it? Was it Miles and Edward Waters, the one that went on for like 2 days, like 17 innings?
Edward Waters, Spring Hill.
Spring Hill, yes. That's the game that really I thought about. I mean, it's significant. You know, that's another game that probably
14 innings
should go on the list. 14. That should go on the list.
Well, was it 12 innings? 12 innings. I'm sorry.
I thought it was longer than 14. I thought it was almost
12.
2 games.
It was 12. We got one more baseball game if we're going to talk about long games. How about Florida Memorial defeating Albany State? I believe the final score was 5-4 in 19 innings in the Black College World Series, Brian.
How many innings was it?
19.
Okay. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad you recognize and remembered that.
Brian, that game was so long. I was watching it. I fell asleep. I woke up, and I was still watching it. That game was pushing 6 hours. I can't remember. It was 5 and some change.
All right, so there's our list of nominees. I'm struggling to think, is there any game in there that we missed? Most of the basketball games really were sort of anticlimactic. I don't think we had any buzzer beaters. I mean, we could talk. I think there was the North, another basketball game that comes to mind, Howard defeating Norfolk State at Norfolk State
in the
and
controversial
ending their
game.
streak, the controversial ending to that game. So that game we could probably put that one in there as a regular season game.
Anybody else got anything? Please throw it in the chat. Now we got to pick 5 off this list, Brian.
Yeah.
And your 5 does not have to be my 5.
Exactly. Okay. So who's gonna go first? How are we gonna do this? We're gonna go snake draft. I do one, and then you do the next 2, or vice versa, and then we just kind of do it that way.
All right, let's go snake.
All right, who's going first? Who led off the opening segment? Was it you or me?
I did.
All right, so I guess I'll lead off this segment then. All right, so this is like pulling teeth. I'm gonna take the top choice. Top choice for me. I gotta take the Celebration Bowl, North Carolina Central over Jackson State. That game had everything. It was a 1 versus 2 matchup. There was going to be no disputing who would be the national champion following. You had the history. You had Jackson State, I believe, was going for an undefeated season, correct?
Correct.
You also knew it was going to be the end. You kind of had an inclination it was going to be the end of the Coach Prime era.
Yes.
You had the history of the MEAC over Jackson State, but you had the distraction of that, which I thought was going to help North Carolina Central out. And then you just had the game itself. I mean, we had a front row. It was a great game. I really want to go back and watch it again because it is a good game. I think I heard Charles talking about it one of the last 2 shows, either 400 or 401. It was a good game. And for at the end to go, first off, the way it went to overtime on a 4th down play.
With Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Shedeur Sanders to Travis Hunter. Big time players making big time plays in that moment. And I'm just thinking, damn, Central just their moment just gone, taken away from them. But they come right back in overtime and just continue to punch Jackson State in the mouth like they've been doing all game, score, and then the dramatic ending for Jackson State on a 4th down play. Young man unable to hold on to the ball, has a Jackie Harris moment. And
that was 3rd down. That play was 3rd down.
Was it?
Yes. When he dropped the ball, it was 3rd down.
Okay. All right. Well, 3rd down. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Jackie Harris play was 3rd down, or the kid from Jackson State?
The drop was 3rd down.
By Jackson State?
Yes. That was on the 3rd down play.
All right. Well, anyway, but that, yeah. So, needless to say, that's one of my 5 and probably my number 1 choice. What's yours? You got the next 2.
All right. I got to start with the homer pick, Brian.
Okay.
I got to start off with number 700 for Tuskegee.
Okay. I understand. I respect that.
First of all, no one gave Tuskegee a shot in hell of defeating West Alabama. And they defeated West Alabama 13-10 was the final score of that game in a very defensive battle where Tuskegee held West Alabama to 23 yards of rushing, picked off a pass, Brian, and forced 6 punts. West Alabama was 3 of 12 on 3rd down, while Tuskegee had a balanced offense of 156 yards rushing, 152 yards passing, and Brian held the ball for 41 minutes and 39 seconds, Brian. So that's the game, Brian. Now let's talk about the history of this. Tuskegee picking up victory 700. Let's break this down. That is number 2 all time in Division II football, Brian. When you consider all programs, HBCU and non-HBCU programs. At the time of the victory, only Pittsburgh State of the MIAA led Tuskegee, who had 729 victories at the time that Tuskegee picked up 700. And Tuskegee was 45 clear of the 3rd place person, who is Hillsdale College of the Great Midwest Conference, who had 655 at that time. Okay, y'all don't care about those schools. What does Tuskegee rank among the HBCUs? At the time of the victory, Brian, Tuskegee was over 100 victories clear of number 2. 596 for Virginia State at that point in time. Let's put this into perspective, Brian. Tuskegee could not win another football game for the next 10 years, Brian, and they still would not be caught. It would take from now to 2035 before somebody would catch Tuskegee. Let's just think about that. That's how clear they are. And win percentage, Tuskegee was number 3. Win percentage, trailing Tennessee State and Grambling. And probably, Brian, after last year, probably if we go back and redo the math, considering Grambling and Tennessee State's year, Tuskegee may have jumped them percentage-wise because they were only separated by a few hundredths of a point when I wrote this article. Black College National Championships, Brian. Tuskegee is 4th all-time with 13, trailing Tennessee State with 16, Grambling and Florida A&M with 15. 28 SIAC championships, with the first one being in 1914, Brian. Over 100 years of dominance. I could go on and on. So,
yes, you could. You could. So
that's my number 1.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. My next one has to be. I'm staying in the SIAC, Brian. The Lane defeating Tennessee State in overtime. The 10th meeting between these two teams, Lane's first victory in the self-proclaimed John Merritt Classic. Let's think about this, Brian. You play Division II at home for a classic, and you lose.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Yeah.
And everybody, I was watching that game. Everybody knew when that game went to overtime and Lane scored and was down 1. You knew they were going for 2 at that point, right, Brian?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Okay.
We were talking about that. About that.
You knew they were going for 2. So, and I speaking of overtime and going for 2, I got to throw this one in, Brian. This is not on the list. But Tuskegee Miles on Tuskegee's homecoming in overtime with the sun going down. Those who do not know, Tuskegee does not have lights. It was about 4:30, 4:40 in the afternoon. Coach Reginald Ruffin mentioned this after the game that I believe this may have been the second overtime when I think it was the second overtime, and the referee told them that this game would have to be continued tomorrow if somebody does not win in this overtime. So when Reginald Ruffin scored and was down 1, he went for 2, knowing that he had to end the game because Mother Nature was going to catch up, or Father Time was going to catch up with him because it was going to be too dark in the stadium to continue to play another overtime period. Just had to throw that one in there since we were talking about overtime victories.
All right. We're talking top 5 games of 2022-23. My number 1, again, was the Celebration Bowl. Drew, with his next 2 selections, chose Tuskegee's 700th and Lane defeating Tennessee State on Tennessee State's homecoming and John Merritt Classic. That's a SIAC team defeating a team from the OVC. All right, so here's my next 2. I'm going to first go away from football because I like the drama. The drama of the SWAC women's basketball semifinal game between Southern and Jackson State. Jackson State had dominated the conference. Has dominated the conference over the last 3-4 years, right? I think also that I'm trying to recall here the streak that they were on. Jackson State had lost already in the regular season, but still, we're talking they'd been the tournament champion the last 2 seasons, and pretty much had dominated this conference. And so they struggled with Southern. They could never put Southern away. I think the point spread was like 9 or 10 going in. Trust me, I know, because I had a little pizza money. I had a little pizza money on the Tigers, thinking that was an easy win. I think that was an easy win, Drew. I was thinking, oh, this is easy money. And then I knew they were in trouble when Southern had let me see if I'm doing the math here. They had a 33-31 lead at the half. I mean, this game was just nip and tuck. Went all the way down. Jackson State had hit a free throw to go up by I'm looking at the play-by-play stats now. Actually, Jackson State had hit free throws down the stretch. Tilam Bowler had hit, let me see, hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. At one point, Jackson State was up 4 with 12 seconds to go. Aaliyah Fontenot, remember that name, makes a three-pointer with 10 seconds to go to cut the deficit, Southern's deficit, to 1. At the free throw line, Deja Woodard misses the first of 2, makes the second with 5 seconds left. And then almost in a full court sprint up the floor, again, Aaliyah Fontenot at the top of the key, buckets. 3-pointer. Southern wins by 1. Got to be a heartbreaker, because had Woodard made the first of those 2 free throws, let me see, they would have been up 65-62. And so we were talking overtime, right? And so, yeah, Aaliyah Fontenot, Southern, with the game winning at the buzzer, sends Jackson State essentially to the NIT, where they wouldn't have any success there against Memphis in that first round. But it just, I think Jackson State, who knows? Jackson State will probably be back, but for Southern, talk about a big time win for Southern. But I think just the drama of that game was pretty significant. So that's my number 2. My third one, Drew, and it's funny because I saw did I have this on there? I don't think we had this on there. I saw that Stephen Gaither had posted the CIAA championship.
We gonna get to that, Stephen.
On a field goal. I actually have that categorized in a different way, but that was a pretty good game. This one pains me to say, but I gotta say Jackson State defeating FAM the way they did, 59-3. I can't think of another game all season in any sport, Drew, between when you think of 2 of the top teams, like at the end of the season when it's all said and done, when you say, hey, these were the top 2 or 3 teams, there is no game that matches what happened to Florida A&M against Jackson State, 59-3. And so I don't want to pile on Jackson. I don't want people to think I'm piling on Jackson State. So I'm giving them props for that 59-3 win, because for Florida A&M, it was an eye-opening moment, but it was also coming at a time when there were so many things that were bad happening around the program and the athletic program. So Jackson State just took advantage of it. and props to them, because really what it did significantly, regardless of what Florida A&M did the rest of the season, getting beat 59-3 hangs over
Kept
you. I
them
mean,
out the
there's
playoffs.
honestly, Drew, Jackson State did, if I'm not mistaken here, they didn't beat anybody else of that with that kind of, margin of defeat. There was nobody else that they did that to. So that for me stands out, and it's one of those moments that still stands out. Like you look around right now in all of the discussions, anybody who's posting preseason analysis about who they think is going to go undefeated, go 10-1, whatever record, eventually somebody from Jackson State is going to get into the conversation and they're going to drop a scoreboard tweet. I see it happening on a regular basis. Yes, Jeremiah Clark. Yes, y'all give yourselves props, but I'm giving you props because that's how, and I talk about we're talking top 5 games, my top 5 games. That's how significant that game was. And so just as great, you talk about the worst beating of the year. That was the worst beating of the year. So there you go.
I don't know. That Central over South Carolina State was a pretty nice beating too. You want to talk about some beats? Central over South Carolina State.
When was that?
This year.
Is that you talking about? That's the one that propelled Central to the title.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that was Central over South Carolina State. Or was that Morgan State over South Carolina State? Somebody whooped South Carolina State like they stole something. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, but it didn't have the kind of significant meaning as that did.
Ask somebody in Orangeburg.
Well, okay, there you go. I should have prefaced that by saying outside of Orangeburg, it didn't have any kind of significant meaning. So,
all
right, you got the next 2. So this is your.
I got the next 2, 2 and 3 for me.
This is 3 and 4 for you.
Oh yeah, number 3 and number 4. Oh, I got to be good with these then.
Yeah.
Man. To pick, I got to go baseball.
You can't double dip here. I'm gonna catch you here and say you cannot double dip. So you have to choose.
I'm not. But to pick one between game. These two,
it's hard.
It's hard. I know which one you want to go with, Brian.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna take the other one.
No, you don't. You don't know which one I want.
I'm gonna take the Florida Memorial Albany State.
Oh, okay.
If we're talking baseball, 19 innings, Florida Memorial under 500, coming out of the NAIA, the number 4 seed in the tournament. Albany State, who had dominated everybody in baseball except the championship games, Brian.
Exactly. Could not win.
As a matter of fact, Brian, I need you to help me with this headline.
Okay.
ASU dominates their conference season.
Yep.
Number one seed going into their conference tournament. Number 1 in all the polls, and lose in the semifinals of their conference tournament. Here's the question, Brian. Which ASU am I talking about?
Ooh. Good question. You might be talking about both of them.
All of the above. Albany State and Alabama State.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner.
Exactly. So the storyline is the same for both of these programs. You know, the only difference is it happened to Albany State twice in the SIAC and in the series. So that would be my next one. And Brian, for that 5-hour marathon. Now, Brian, let's keep something in mind. The score was tied 3-3 after 6 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Another run was not scored in this game until the 17th inning. Let's do the math. 6 + 9 equals 15. That's over a game worth of innings without a run scored, Brian. Both teams hit a home run. I think there was a home run hit by one team in the 17th inning, and the other team manufactured a run via sacrifice fly. And then you had the final run that was scored, that was manufactured. But man, for those teams that had that much pitching on the last day of a tournament, where you could pitch 11 shutout innings, Brian, both teams.
Right.
Talk about some pitching performances. All right. That would be that's my first one. And I'll go stay with ball sports. I'm gonna stay with the Diamond, Brian. The Edward Water Spring Hill game would have to be my next. And I believe that game was scoreless until the 12th inning, where Edward Waters finally won that game 4-0, Brian. That game was so long, and I was on the broadcast of that game. We were running a 3-man booth because there was supposed to be a break, and myself, Charles Ward, and Bo Carter were on the call, and Bo Carter had to leave the game to go start the other game because somebody had to start the other game on the other field doing play-by-play on that game until we finished our game and we were able to come over and join him.
Yeah.
So those would be my next two. Sticking with the Diamond. I'm going to say basketball for the end.
All right, so that's your two. That's your third and fourth, right? Okay, so this is my fourth and fifth. And this is going to sound real funny. So, Jeremiah Clark, just hold yourself here.
Yeah, 19 innings, Jeremiah.
I was mistaken. We had talked, we said day 2 of the SWAC baseball tournament, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Bethune and Southern on day 2. You know who it was?
Bethune Jackson State.
Yes. Followed up by the FAMU Alabama State game. And this is tough. I don't know what's harder to do. I have to do what I just told you to do if you try to put your props back up on the wall as your stuff is falling down. Which is tougher to do, rally and win 5 runs or rally from down 2 in the elimination bracket? So I'm going to say my number 4 game, Drew, as dramatic as day 2 was in the SWAC baseball tournament, I got to say my number 4 game of the year is Bethune-Cookman staying alive down to their last outs in the elimination game against Jackson State. A game that saw, I'm just going back and looking to see where the lead changes were. So after the 5th inning, right, Bethune had taken an 8-7 lead. Jackson State, here's where it starts to get good. Jackson State ties it up at 8-8. Takes a 9-8 lead in the top of the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th inning, Bethune comes back to tie it up at 9. Go to the top of the 9th inning. Jackson State scores 2 runs. The top of the 9th off a triple RBI and then a single RBI to go up 11-9. The Wildcats are on their heels, Drew. Down 2 runs, 3 outs to go. They end up with a 2 RBI single to tie the game at 11. and then on a throwing error from second base on a fielder's choice. So you end up with a fielder's choice, ball hit to the second baseman. Runners are moving. Runner on third is coming home. Throwing error by the second baseman of Jackson State ends up yielding the game-winning run for Bethune. They win 12-11. Survive, right? I mean, survive and advance. And we know, so they end up beating Jackson State 12-11. Jackson State sent home. Bethune ends up carrying that into all the way out of the elimination bracket into the championship game, where they would be defeated by their Florida rival, Florida A&M. But I chose that game over the 5-run Alabama State game because regardless of the outcome of Alabama State, Florida A&M, whoever lost, they were going to be disappointed, but their season wasn't over. That game, somebody's season was done. So I got to give, props to Coach Hernandez and Bethune-Cookman as one of my games of the year right there. So that leaves me with one left, right? And I've chosen a basketball game. I've chosen a baseball. I've chosen – I picked 2 football games. Man, my last game, Drew. Last game of the year. Wow, so many good games to choose from. I got to think of a game that really moved me. And you know what? I think I got to go to another women's basketball game, Drew. And I'm going with the games that I actually watched. So I got to go with Coach Eric Jackson and Rust women.
Damn you, Brian.
Winning. Hey, well, look, hey, that game was dramatic as heck. I think Philander had built like a 9-point lead or something like that, Drew, with maybe it felt like 3-4 minutes to go. I don't know exactly. I haven't looked it up. I didn't do my homework here, but I just remember the visuals of that game watching, and I was rooting for, look, we've talked to Coach Jackson, friend of the program, so we've kind of built a cool relationship with him. So nothing against Philander Smith. Good program, good teams, right? But I was really rooting for Coach Jackson and Rust. And to be the top dog all year and to see them being on the verge of getting beaten and then all of a sudden be able to rise and make enough big plays at the right time and pull that victory out. And then seeing the emotions and the excitement at the end, those are the images that stick into my mind. And that was a great game, great finish. And so I will say my number 5 game, and this is hard, Drew. This is hard, but like I said, when you're trying to incorporate all the games of the year, I got to go with Rust women in the GCAC championship game. So that's my number 5. And so what's your number 5?
All right, I just got to throw this in, Brian.
Sure.
You talked about one baseball game that only had 26 outs. I was there for the 2 baseball games that only had, where the team that was winning only got 26 outs. Jackson State, and I was there for the FAMU game. The FAMU game, despite the fact no one went home, was more painful to watch. A team collapsing and giving it up the way that FAMU did. This is not my game, but it was just one of those things. And kudos to the Rattlers for coming back after that defeat and coming back to win the tournament, because most teams would have shut it down after losing in that manner.
Oh, yeah.
But my number 5, Brian, is the other GCAC game that you didn't steal from me. It would have to be the men's game.
Okay.
That was won on a buzzer beater. You have undefeated in NAIA, only one loss, and that was to a Division II team. That was to Mississippi College, or the Tougaloo Bulldogs, battling Philander Smith in a classic back and forth ball game. And the game literally came down to the last second. Tougaloo tried to dribble the clock down and shoot with under 30 seconds to go. They missed it. Philander called a timeout. Philander shot the ball and missed, but there was a foul on the longer tip. Long story short, Tougaloo winds up getting the ball with a half second left, gets to the free throw line, sinks one of two free throws, and ball game. It was a game. It was a classic game with all the drama that you could ever expect in a basketball game. Right? So that would be my basketball game of the year.
All right. So just to recap, and I'm going to let you recap your 5 again, Drew. So just in case you didn't write it down or don't recall. My 5 again, top 5 games of the year. The Celebration Bowl, North Carolina Central over Jackson State in OT, last play of the game. Also in football, Jackson State mollywhopping Florida A&M 59-3 at the beginning of the season in the Orange Blossom Classic. Also had Southern University women defeating Jackson State at the buzzer in the basketball tournament semifinals. Then I had the Bethune-Cookman 9th inning rally over Jackson State, down 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. In the elimination game, somebody's season was over after that game. And then Rust women defeating Philander Smith in the GCAC tournament championship game. Those are my 5. In no particular order, really. Don't ask me to rank those, but just in no particular order. All right, your 5 again, recap.
My 5, Tuskegee wins number 700. Lane defeats Tennessee State in the John Merritt Classic in overtime. Florida Memorial defeats Albany State in 19 innings to win the Black College World Series. Edward Waters defeats Spring Hill in 12 innings in the semifinals of the SIAC Softball Championship. And Tougaloo defeats Philander Smith in the GCAC Men's Championship game. That would be my 5.
All right. Let's take a real short break because on the other side, we're just going to quickly kind of run. We're just going to give our top 5 stories of the year. I don't know, how we say quick. Jesus.
We got Fayetteville coming up in this segment, Steve.
We're past our deadline here. I don't know. But we'll see what we can do, how quickly we can do our top 5 stories of the year. You're watching a BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. here. We'll be back in a short 2 minutes.
I have in me the ability to make you a better you. So if you work hard, focus, stay on point, you can do anything. Trust me.
We made this track to tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Remember the revival? Relive the remix. Reunite for the Orange Blossom Classic. HBCU Reunion Experience. It's year 3, baby, and we back with that fire. Calling all HBCU fans. Labor Day weekend. The I Love Jackson State University takes on the venomous Florida A&M University. Tickets are on sale now. Watch the game in premium style seating or watch it from a luxury suite. And of course, you know the halftime show is going to be epic right here in the 305. The sonic boom of the South and the illustrious Marching 100. Who you rocking with? The 2023 Orange Blossom Classic. Don't miss the HBCU Reunion Experience. Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. Trust me, we'll see you there. Oh. Check out orangeblossom.com for tickets and info.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew here, taking some time out on this Monday Night Live episode to recap the top stories, top headlines of the past 22-23 academic college year, the HBCU Sports year. And so just want to remind everybody, if you would, obviously, you know, we're not on our normal time, but if you are watching, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, MyJBN 1. Make sure you check us out. The Black College Sports Network is a part of the Jericho Broadcast Networks. And at MyBCSN 1, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find our show Facebook page at facebook.com BCSN Sports Wrap. Okay. Drew. Top 5 headlines of 22-23.
Let's go 1 for 1 on this one.
1 for 1. All right, 1 for 1. Go ahead. You start first.
I'm going to start off with the Stephen A. Gaither special. How about the Fayetteville State Broncos finally winning the CIAA football championship in their Buffalo Bill championship, that being their 4th consecutive championship. Their 4th consecutive trip to the CIAA championship. So, a game that was filled with drama, went back and forth between them and Shawan. And let's be real, Brian. Everybody in HBCU land was probably happy that relieved that Fayetteville won instead of the team that was leaving the conference. The associate member of the conference winning that game and representing our HBCU conference like Spring Hill did in baseball. So, and it was won on the last second field goal. So
the drama of just how we got to that is also fascinating. The fact that, you know, you had a Virginia Union team that
lost to Shawan.
But what I was going to say was the number 1 team in every small division, small non-D1 HBCU football metric, nationally ranked. They were even in the rankings. So we kind of felt like they were going to go to the playoffs up to that point where was it the second to last game of the season, the week before the Virginia State game, they lose to Shawan. Just like, wow. And just think about all the teams that Virginia Union had beaten on the road. They lost to Shawan at home, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So you had that, and then Shawan beating teams like Bowie State, other teams in the Northern Division. And then Fayetteville, just like you mentioned, had lost 3 in a row to Bowie previously. And just, again, we'd be talking a whole different story about, you mentioned the Buffalo Bills. I mean, hell, they beat the Dallas Cowboys if they had actually won a couple of those CAA championships against Bowie. You might think of Bowie differently had Fayetteville won 1 or 2 of those titles, right? So yeah, good to see. So you went small school to start. I'll match your CIAA. I'll match it with a SIAC headline: the story of the Benedict Tigers doing what had never been done in program history. And I think it started becoming a first after week 3. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, after week 3, it was Benedict's never been 4-0 before. Benedict's never been 5-0 before. They've never been 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0.
Yada.
What? Hosting the SIAC 10-0. It was just like, wow, and then they actually win the doggone thing 11-0 and the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, regional tournament. Got a bye week. Regardless of how the season ended, it did not end as
your volume's going in and out, Brian. Adjust your mic.
Yeah. It did not end the way that they hoped, but Benedict's season was an outstanding season. They were the number 1 team throughout it, unbeaten. We were actually, even for a minute, Drew, remember we were hoping for a Virginia. We got close to thinking we might get a Virginia Union Benedict showdown in the playoffs.
For the national championship.
National championship.
For the HBCU national championship.
I mean, Benedict had one of the top defenses in Division II. They just ran into a team that was more experienced in the playoffs.
And Virginia Union had one of the top offenses.
Yes. So we were but what a great season up until the playoffs. I mean, it was a great season, and it'll be interesting to see if Coach Chinnisberry and Benedict can continue building on the success of this past year. But it definitely is one of my top headlines of the year. All right, you're going.
And Brian, I just want to add one other thing to that.
Yeah.
You know how little was expected out of Benedict this year? You don't know what expects anything out of you when you're on 5 different teams' homecoming opponent besides yours.
Were they? Wow.
Yes. They were the homecoming matchup for 5 different teams.
Well, they had gone 5-5 the previous year. I think they were predicted as high as 3rd in the preseason. I just kind of remember being there with I think I was with Jamie Walker, and we were kind of in our preseason predictions, and I was actually thinking it was either going to come down to Alabama State or Benedict. Benedict was the team that I was looking for to come out of the East, either them or Alabama State. And we went to that game, had a chance to call that game. I think you did stats for that game. So that game was not nearly as competitive as we thought it might. And that was the point at which you knew, oh, this Benedict team is the truth. So, yeah. All right, what do we got next?
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, I picked Lane to win the SIAC West. Anyway.
I you know what? I did too. Full disclosure, I did too. I picked Lane to win the West as well. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on to Division 1. Let's move on to the SWAC, Brian. I've got one SWAC football story. I guarantee you're probably going to take the other SWAC football story on our list. I am going to take. I don't know which one of these I'm going to take. No, I'm going to let you have.
Aren't these? Now look, if we have the same one, we have the same one. So
no. Because I know where you're going to go with one of. I'm gonna let the OG Strike Zone have that one, and you know which one I'm talking about. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down the
I want
down
this
the
to
road.
be honest. I want this to be honest and authentic. If it's one of your top 5, it's one of your top 5s. Don't skirt away from it just because you're trying to put in an honorable mention one. That's how we end up
Right.
having these super long shows.
No, this is not honorable mention, but the thing that consumed the whole month of January, Brian, and that was the Ed Reed saga. If
Ding,
we
ding,
remember,
ding.
I believe it was December 27th or 28th
Yes.
when it was announced in principle that Ed Reed would become the next head ball coach at Bethune-Cookman University, as Bethune tried to catch lightning in a bottle, the same way that Jackson State caught lightning in the bottle. But
be careful about trying to catch lightning.
yeah, you catch lightning, you might get burned, Brian. And Bethune got burned by this one as Ed Reed opened mouth and inserted foot in his mouth via Twitter or Instagram, rather, as he started bashing the administration and the people at Mother Mary Bethune-Cookman. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back when he said, when he called Dr. Kane, I believe was the phrase that he used. But not going to dwell on that, but he
Wait a minute,
literally,
say it again. When he did what?
Dr. Kane.
What he called? Who did he
Talk about Barry McLeod Bethune.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, but him going in with Bethune and then going in, when you go in on your boss before you even sign a contract, chances are that contract is never going to come. And that is what wound up happening with Bethune-Cookman as Rizzy Theus and the administration rescinded their offer and everybody parted ways. But that pretty much took up all the time between from Christmas and New Year's to the post King holiday, if I have my timeline correct.
If someone does any type of thing related to sports and social media, this Ed Reed saga, along with what's going on with Zion Williams' life right now, those two stories would fall under the bad moments in sports Twitter in 2023. And if you know about the whole Zion Williams thing, you know what I'm talking about. But Ed Reed was like that. The Ed Reed saga was like that. I remember being you mentioned the date on that. I was our team was playing in a holiday tournament in Daytona at Vince Carter's former school, Mainland High School. And I just happened to see Dan Ryan, the SID, Bethune. And I also see former athletic director Lynn Thompson's there, a few other BC people. So I just happened to say something to Dan because I just happened to overhear him and Lynn having a conversation. And so I was like, hey, how's the football search going? You guys have a person yet? And Dan says to me, yeah, we got somebody. As a matter of fact, I just had to finish writing the release, but we're not going to announce it just yet. They're going to hold on to it till next week. I said, right. I said, oh, okay. And because at first he jokingly said, if I tell you, I'd have to kill you. And I said, oh, it's like that, huh? Yeah. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I just finished writing the release, blah, blah, blah. Literally 15 minutes later, I look at my phone and I got a text from Mike Reed. And then I'm looking at Twitter. I see Hale Wildcats breaking a story that Ed Reed is going to be named the new coach. And I just kind of I just took my phone over to Dan. I said, hey, Dan, is this actually happening? And he looked at my phone and he said, God, I might have cursed, but he was just like, God bless it. And he just he's like, well, I don't think he said cat's out of the bag, but I think that's what he really wanted to say. And so he didn't deny it. He didn't deny it. So yeah, I was standing right there when that story came out, and it was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. So trust me. Yes, Jeremiah. Yes, I was definitely. I pay attention. I'm watching the game, but I'm listening over my right side as cats are talking. That's what good journalists have to do. So yeah, I just remember that. So yeah, Ed Reed's story was right up there as one of mine, Drew. But I think the story that you're referring to me and ONG Strike Zone, of course, would be. And here's what I'll say: that controversy, along with the Florida A&M eligibility compliance issue to start the football season, those two controversies, those two moments, excuse me, I couldn't find my mute button. They exposed some things that weren't right at the school. And you see what's come out of it for Bethune. So Bethune has actually, much like Florida A&M, in a better place. So they took a little PR hit. They took a little PR hit. There were some ugly things that got turned over. But I think they're better off today than they were, let's just say, on Christmas of last year. Does that make sense? 6 months ago, they're better off than they were 6 months ago.
Just like FAMU is better off now than they were this time last year.
Yes. So, the Florida A&M eligibility compliance issue rocked the team right before their week 0 game against North Carolina. Several players
2 days before.
2 days before, yeah. Ruled ineligible to. The team was literally supposed to be getting on the bus to head to the plane when the news comes out that players are going to be ineligible because of compliance issues. And key players, stars, guys who were banking on this game to be their showcase game. Somehow it got worked out where
2 weeks later
the team actually managed to get on the bus, on the plane, head to North Carolina, play the game, actually were competitive for like 3/4 of that ball game. But the bigger effect of all of the distractions of that bled out in that bloodbath that they took to the hands of Jackson State. That's where it really came home. And so a lot of meetings, a lot of talk. And at the end of the day, Florida A&M ended up hiring an athletic director with a strong compliance background. And everybody is on the same page with making sure that doesn't happen again. This year, Florida A&M opens the season against Jackson State. So the point is, don't let that happen again. And they're doing proactive measures to sort of make sure that doesn't happen. So ugly incidents, 6 months, 8 months later, your school ends up being in a better place. It's not how I'd recommend you do it, but it's how it happens. Now, a sidebar, Drew, there's another story which got very underreported. I think it involved Prairie View, where Prairie View ended up with their president, former president, I think. But the president had ended up firing or the AD or letting the AD go.
AD.
Because,
It was the AD.
Yeah, let the AD go because there was a situation where the AD
forgot to book the plane.
Yeah, well, something. Yeah, I don't know whether you forgot to book it, but all I know is that there was supposed to be a plane, and there wasn't a plane, and you had a team at the tarmac. Like, where are we supposed to go? And that story, this is when you talk about. Can you imagine if that would have happened at Florida A&M? how much in the news. So when you talk about Blue Bloods and your strong brand, I'm just, no offense to PV folks, but that y'all did a good job of keeping that one under wraps, because I don't understand how Twitter didn't blow up on that incident. But all right, so there we go. I think that was actually for me stories 2 and 3. So I've got 3 stories already in. So you give your third story.
How about Xavier tennis, Brian? Both the men and the women reached the quarterfinals of the NAIA tournament. For the men, it was the 7th time in the last 10 seasons that the men have reached the quarterfinals before they lost to Georgia Gwinnett. Yeah, I know you're looking at me because I snuck that one in there, Brian.
I wasn't even, but hey, here's what I say. The great thing about that story, and this is props to Xavier for keeping us informed. Xavier, we always get information about Xavier athletics. So shout out to their SID and their athletic program. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ed Castle. And the women wound up losing in the quarterfinals to Southeastern out of Florida. So this was the first time for the women reaching the quarterfinals. So congratulations to Xavier Tennis, a very, very underrated program. If you got African American tennis players, send them down to Xavier.
If they can't get into Florida A&M.
Yeah, if they can't get into Florida A&M.
Yeah, come
well,
on.
If you have a son, send them to Xavier. If you have a daughter, send them to FAMU.
There you go. FAMU first. There you go. Come on. Yes. All right, that's an interesting. You snuck that one in. I didn't think that was one that you would put as one of your top stories of the year, but props to you for doing that. All right, and I hope you'll give me this, because these 2 stories kind of went side by side during the basketball season. And so as much as I would like to give sole credit for this, my number 4 headline was the turnaround of Langston basketball, which really I probably should.
Let's just get NAIA men's basketball. Let's just
I don't want to. Because I think that what they accomplished was worthy of giving them their full credit. As you just pointed out, Tougaloo went unbeaten in NAIA, had 1 loss all year. That was to a D2 school. Went all the way to the round of 8 in the NAIA. So that is an outstanding accomplishment. Needs to be acknowledged, without a doubt. The only thing that could trump that is if you were a 1 or 2 win program a year ago, and the next season with a new coach, you come in and you pop out a practically unbeaten season with maybe, I think Langston maybe lost 1 or 2 games and they made it all the way to the Sweet 16.
They lost 2 regular season games.
2 regular season games, but for a good stretch, I think they won their first 16, 18 games, something to that effect in the season. So the Langston story, just one of the outstanding stories of the year. I don't think there has been a program to do what Langston did, which is go from 1 to 2 wins to going 30. I don't even know what the final record was, but it was 30-something and 2, 30 and 3, 30-something and 3, because they did lose in the Sweet 16. What were you going to add?
Brian, they went plus 30.
Plus 30 wins in a year. That's unheard of.
Plus 30.
Plus 30 wins. That's unheard of.
Unheard
at the college basketball level. I don't care, D1, D2, NAIA.
College anything level. College baseball, college whatever. Plus 30, Brian.
Yeah, I really feel like my number 4 is really a 4A and 4B.
I'll give you that. Those 2 stories go together.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, go with your is this your fourth or fifth?
Yeah, this was number 4. All right, Brian. I'm supposed to be Cap Obvious. Coach Prime leaves and goes to Colorado. All the drama of the Celebration Bowl, all the tension for the 2 weeks heading up to the Celebration Bowl, and everyone pretty much knowing when Jackson State lost that game in overtime that the Coach Prime era was over. And to find out, Brian, before we could even get back to our hotels and everything, I think we went to dinner. Everybody went to dinner afterwards.
Right.
And by the time we finished dinner, we've got the tweets starting to come out that Coach Prime has made this announcement that he's going to Colorado.
Yeah. He was on a plane. He was on a plane and off to Boulder. Or no, actually that was after the SWAC championship game when he was so yes. Actually that happened at the SWAC championship game. When he actually, so we went to dinner after the Celebration Bowl. So I mean he was already gone.
Yes.
So
my timeline is off. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But knowing that he was leaving.
Yeah, that was my fifth. That was my fifth story. I mean, for all that he had given to HBCUs, to Jackson State, there were a lot of, and again, I think to summarize that whole thing, I think people were more upset with how he left, not necessarily why he left. I think there's no perfect timing in college athletics because of the way timelines are. There's nothing that Coach Prime could have done, Deion Sanders could have done to change that. And it was a first. It was the first time in HBCU that had happened. I can't think of any other moment in HBCU athletics where
an HBCU coach goes to a Power 5.
I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but just in the manner, in that, he was still going to stick around, coach the team. There's a team that's chasing history by going unbeaten, unfinished business. Then the news of potential players that were going to get booted from there was the portal talk, which I think all of that added to the drama. You had the portal talk. You had his speech at Colorado. There were so many things that played into that. So you all right there?
Yeah.
All right. So Coach Prime was my fifth one there. Oh, did you have a fifth one outside of that? I mean, because I really, when I think of top stories, that's my five. Okay.
Fist gymnastics.
Yeah. Okay.
Fist gymnastics, man.
Yeah.
Just the story of Fist starting that program and the national accolades that they received from starting that program.
Definitely, it's in my top 10. It's definitely inside my top 10. Any other stories? I think the only other story that I would add into my top 10 would be Norfolk State women's basketball, Howard men's basketball, winning the regular season in the MEAC and then the conference championships for the first time in a long time. Like for the Norfolk State women, my numbers here. I think it may have been 20 years for them. For Howard men, 30 years. I mean, we're talking practically a generation. We're talking at least one generation, especially Howard. I mean, I was graduating high school the last time Howard had gone to the NCAA tournament. And so for Norfolk State, I think it was, like I said, it was either 10 or 20 years. I felt like it was more like 20. But you know, I would have added that. So all right. Any other stories? I know you had on our pre-sheet, you had Benedict's 5th women's track title. I know you
forgot.
You would add that into your top 5?
Yeah,
or I'm saying top 10. You
yeah.
qualify that as a top 10?
Yeah, 5 consecutive track titles in a conference. 5 consecutive anything titles in a conference.
Okay. All right. I definitely would also include your Tuskegee 700th in there as well. I would add that into my top 10.
Even though I included it in the football piece, but
yeah,
the game
well,
piece.
I mean, because I understand why you did that. That was a good story. I would also probably, if I'm doing top 10, Edward Waters softball. I would put what they did. I think the only program to win 40 games. They were our national
with their second interim coach.
Yeah. With that whole story surrounding Edward Waters baseball or softball, I would definitely include that into my top 10 stories of 22-23. So, all right. Well, if you guys, if you're listening to the show and you have a thought that you want to add or share, you can always reach us on our social media page or Twitter. You can find Drew. You can find Drew at BCSN Drew. You can find me at DRB365. And you can also find us on our Facebook page. Facebook.com/BCSN SportsWrap. We would really like to hear your top 5 headlines, top 5 games. You can post all of that on those sites. So, all right, Drew. Any final thoughts? We got to get out of here because Spectrum is messing around, testing out the internet in my area, and I know it's probably going nuts right now. Damn it! I had a tech guy actually come and tell me because I had some service. I had my connections checked, and you know what he told me? He said the shift change is at 9 o'clock, and that's when when the new shift comes on, they start doing testing, and sure enough, my connections start going nuts after 9 o'clock, from the 9 to 10 o'clock hour, and I'm like, you bastards! It's the worst time to do this. But
especially when you're in the second hour of your podcast.
Yeah, I'm in the second or third hour in my, whatever, man. Screw you, Spectrum. Yeah. Anyway, they're not a sponsor, but anyway, whatever.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers who are out there, or grandfathers who are out there, and fellas. Please, this is a public service announcement, Brian. Don't fall for the okie doke and let your kids tell you that they're going to treat you to Chick-fil-A on Sunday as your Father's Day.
Who got caught on that? Come on now.
Okay, just want to warn you. This is a public service announcement. Don't meet them at Chick-fil-A on this Sunday. Pick any other restaurant. And speaking of restaurants, Brian, why aren't the restaurants packed out for Father's Day as they are for Mother's Day? Anyway, I'm gonna leave that one alone. That's a comment for a different podcast and a different day, Brian. But happy. Go ahead.
No. Finish up.
I was gonna say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and for all the uncles and the coaches out there who played the role of fathers to those many young men. To many of those young men and young ladies who out there who need father figures. Dr. Marcellus Jones.
Yeah, you have to. Hey, I will say this though. Speaking of those coaches, I'm not a father, don't have my own kids, but I will be taking advantage of all the Father's Day discounts at the local eateries this weekend. Getting my
Both
free
of them, Brian.
Huh?
Both of the eateries, because there's only gonna be 2 of them giving out Father's Day discounts.
Well, look, whatever they giving out, I'm taking advantage of them. If it's Chipotle or whoever else is giving out discounts for Dad, I'm on it. I'm on it this weekend. I'm already doing research on restaurants that are giving away discounts this upcoming weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thing, Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Do something productive this weekend. This is a holiday weekend. Don't just sleep in on Monday before you check out the Monday edition of the BCSN SportsWrap, because it is Juneteenth. Do something productive, a day of service, some type of celebration. We know y'all go cook out. It's a holiday. We know how y'all folk is. Y'all go cook out. But do something productive in honor of Juneteenth. This is a holiday that hasn't been around that long. We fought hard to get this holiday. So let's do this holiday some justice.
Did you see the ad? I think this is in Columbia, South Carolina, I think it was, where they had some pale skin folks wearing Juneteenth shirts on an ad.
Oh, I saw something about
It said something about the ultimate gentrification of America right now. They've taken Juneteenth and they stuck some Gap models in some T-shirts. I don't know where. I'm wondering if you had seen it though. I think you had. Sounds like you had. All right. Next week, I'm gonna look to try to reach out also to the grumpy old nerd himself, John, and see if we can get him on to talk some summer movies, because I just went to go see Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I've already seen Fast X, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm looking forward to The Flash this weekend. Father's Day, I'm looking forward to The Flash. So maybe we'll get a chance to talk summer movies with him, Drew. So you got some time to bone up this weekend or this upcoming week on your movies. And then
hey, if you got Prime Video, Shooting Stars is a must watch.
What is that about?
That's the LeBron story of St. Vincent St. Mary's and how the 5 of them all came together.
Is it better than the documentary that came out back in 2013? You remember that one?
No.
More Than a Game, I think it's called. It actually uses actual footage from that period of time.
No, but this was in their own voice, so this is more of a drama versus a documentary.
Oh, okay. Because I enjoyed the documentary More Than a Game. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. But okay. So it's not a movie, it's a series, huh?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's just short of 2 hours, like 151 or something like that.
All right. Good recommendation. All right, so there you go. A couple of recommendations as we close the show. As always, you can donate to the show right there. Look at the scroll on the Cash App, $ MyJBN, MyBCSN. Make sure you're following the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at MyBCSN1. The SportsWrap also, the Facebook page is facebook.com/BCSN SportsWrap. You can also find any of our shows on the BCSN Pod Zone. It's the one destination for podcasts featuring all of the shows of the Black College Sports Network. Tomorrow, you can watch after Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You can download the podcast there. You can also get the O&G Strike Zone and the Carlos Brown Show. And we're going to be looking to add some new shows and some more content to the Pod Zone channel. But we need you to go subscribe, rate, review, and download and listen. to the BCSN Pod Zone. So that's going to do it for tonight's show, folks. We appreciate you. And don't forget, leave us your comments, leave us your thoughts on the top 5 stories, top headlines of the past year. So for my co-host, partner, A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Thanks for watching the Sports Wrap. Have a good week, and we're going to go watch the NBA Finals and see if the Heat or the Nuggets, let's see if we get a Game 6 or whether the Nuggets are going to be celebrating Rocky Mountain High tonight. So singing some John Denver on the way out. All right, so that's going to do it. You guys take care of yourselves. Peace out. Be safe. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day. Next Monday, we're back. Another live episode of the Sports Wrap. Monday Night Live next week. Peace out.
Travel light. We'll holla.
But stay on hard.